Welcome back, everybody, to The Creative Moment, your favorite podcast for now stretching over, about to be 4? We started in 2022, 4 years. This is the season premiere of Season 8, Episode 1, and we are coming at you on New Year's Eve of 2024, so we've wrapped up 2024. First of all, thank you guys for sticking with us throughout the whole year. We get through about 2 seasons or 3 seasons per-ish, something like that. So thank you guys for that, but we have an episode to get into. So without further ado, let's go ahead and do that. I'm double duty today, I guess. I haven't had my coffee yet. Okay, so obviously with it being New Year's Eve, by when you guys are watching this, we decided to kind of make your New Year's resolutions for you, creatively speaking, and kind of give you some ways on how to execute, how to be more creative in this next year. Maybe if you're in a rut or you're just starting out or wherever you may be in the creative ladder, so to speak, we're here to kind of help you get some ideas on how to progress and keep going in the year 2025.
So your New Year's resolution is to be more creative this year. Your own personal ones, that's up to you. You can work on that, but this is your New Year's resolution, and how to make sure that you don't fail at this New Year's resolution. What's the average?
It's the second Friday in
the
January.
Second Friday, like 14 days, or
70 or 80% of New Year's resolutions are
gone already. So we're like, we're making this New Year's resolution for you and for us a little bit, and we got ideas on how you can make sure that you keep this New Year's resolution for the whole year.
Yeah. So with being more creative, unless you want to go, I can go first. I didn't know if
Did you already? No, I was like, actually.
Okay, so with being more creative, and I've touched on this kind of at length the past year, you need to have, I guess, expand your environment. Not totally every single day, but expand your environment. And what do I mean by that is if you have an office or have a workspace or have kind of a set routine that you are getting kind of, it's just your routine, it's what you do every day for work or for your creative space, if you have a certain space, whatever, expand that environment every once in a while to kind of keep those juices flowing. You touched on taking a different way home from work in one of our episodes, or go to a coffee shop to work that day and just kind of let maybe there's music playing, the coffee, the people talking in the background, the windows, people passing by, let that environment.
I was just live audience.
Yeah. Let that environment kind of speak to you, because when you get in that kind of rut routine, the environment is just kind of, it is what it always has been. It doesn't need to be huge, although I do recommend, like, traveling is a pretty easy way to expand your environment into something way different. But just from time to time, put yourself in a different space, even if it's a different part of your house, something like that. Take a different approach to when you're working creatively and just see what that can do for you and see how that can kind of spark your creativity, and you don't have to work for it near as much, because just primal instinct, when you're in a new environment, you're paying attention to a lot more, you're aware of a lot more stuff. Yeah.
Which actually, that idea falls into my first helpful hint on how to be more creative. All right, it's a little counterintuitive, you might think, but sit down with a calendar or on your phone or whatever and schedule it. Okay, so what do I mean in that regard? For one, the idea of working somewhere new, put that down, schedule that. We've talked about it. I've talked about before a little bit that a TED Talk, and again, we're right on the spur of the moment. I should look that up next time I reference it. But they talked about scheduling the things that bring you joy and things, and that helps you be more productive. because what happens is that we got to study, we got to do this, and we grind that longer than we should, and we eliminate the things that that fill our bucket because we've scheduled all this work or whatever. So that TED Talk was about scheduling the things that bring you joy. So in this case, if you're going to like once a month, I'm going to work, at my local coffee shop, or I'm going to go outside, or I'm going to try to do that, because we are creatures of habit, and we do all right on the spur of the moment. We might go, oh, I'm just going to go today. Okay. But most of the time, what we do is we fall into our habits, which is the routine. So if you got it scheduled, it is written down. It has to be written down. I'm sorry, we just do not do well with keeping it in the back of our head and going, oh, I'll get to that. Right? I actually have a physical calendar that I write different things down, even when I'm planning lessons and stuff like that. I'm a big component, and if it's in here, that's fine also. With that, on your calendar, on Google, or on your phone or whatever. But if you spend just an hour or so, because I had an idea, like one Tuesday a month, like try something new Tuesday, and you have it scheduled in. It alerts you if you use your phone or it's on your calendar. In my case, I was thinking of, like, if you're a writer, try drawing something. Try, learn a musical instrument. Just something scheduled that way. But any component, like, we do well with routine. And even if it's a small routine, like once a month, most of professional writers, just talking in my realm, Stephen King writes every morning from like 9:30 to 11 or something like that. I don't know for sure, but I know every morning nobody bothers him, and then in the afternoon he takes. But it's a schedule, and it's not always good stuff. It is but it is scheduled, and so it becomes part of the routine. So you can kind of schedule your spontaneity with that, and that will help you be more creative. You can infuse Dante's suggestion, make it every third Friday. Every third Friday, I'm going to go to a new place to work, and you'll find you'll look forward to that day. You'll be like, oh, okay, where am I going to go? So my biggest, I am a big component for having that stuff down, and it might seem like, oh, well, you're not being creative, or it's not. No, it is scheduling in the things that bring us joy. We know what our responsibilities are. We know what those are. Make it a priority that you schedule in opportunities
when you have
or
something
chances.
Concrete there, like whether it's just a stupid calendar notification, it feels more real than you just saying,
sitting in your head,
I'm going to go tomorrow, I'm going to go to the coffee shop.
Yeah, because you'll wake up and you'll be like,
the very tiniest or first inconvenience, like, well, now I can't go, or now I can't do this. But having it there is just like, oh, I got to do this before I go to the coffee shop type thing. And like, I have had my share of spontaneous little vacation trips and planned vacation trips, and I have sat there, specifically the when I went to the Ozarks in June. I decided that night that I was going to go to the Ozarks, whatever. The entire evening I sit there and I'm just thinking, okay, because I didn't have anything booked or whatever. I'm like, do we actually want to do this? I started thinking of all the things,
reasons
why
not to. Yep.
And all that, and then I'm just like, just book it, because then one, you can't get the money back, but two, it's just like, then it's real. Then it's like, okay, this is what I'm doing. And so just having anything, piece of paper, a notification on your phone, something like that, just it's real now, subconsciously.
Yeah.
Mine is somewhat kind of creative and business tied together, but can also tie into if you're not making money on your creative ventures or whatever. But it's create for you more. 2 nights ago, we've had crazy fog here the past like week. It's like the whole day is foggy. It's kind of cool. But so the street lights were super foggy. It was like 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. and I was kind of tired. I just shot a couple basketball games, whatever. And I was like, that looks really cool. I'm like, do I get the camera out? I'm like, and I'm like, just go do it. Like, it'll take 5 minutes, whatever. It's you're at your apartment. It's fine. So I went and I ended up spending about 15 minutes out there just shooting kind of the fog, seeing what different things worked or whatever. And that, when you get into such a cycle of just creating for clients or for a certain purpose, basically, instead of just creating to see what looks cool, what's like that sort of thing, and I've talked about this at length too, you just get into kind of a rut, just kind of like you're spinning on the hamster wheel. And when you step out and just create for yourself, I don't know if I'm going to use those photos or ever do anything with them, maybe not. But it was really fun to just be out there and be like, okay, what looks cool? There's no boundaries, there's no set, I got to get this team doing this or whatever. It was just, I can just do whatever I think kind of looks cool. And you can tie it into business, but also like you post a lot on Twitter, you're in a lot of Twitter groups, whatever. Sometimes just writing something down just to write it and not like, oh, this might not go anywhere, it might, whatever, but I'm just going to write it just to write it. That can inspire you in a lot of ways that, again, you don't even really realize, but you just feel back in the flow. You kind of feel that like passion again. You're just like, oh, this would be cool. And I intended on taking about like 1 or 2 photos out there, and I was out there for 15 minutes just like dinkering around, seeing what different angles and stuff looked good. Just because it was just creating for the purpose to create kind of thing. And that is something that is one of my kind of resolutions. But doing that when you get into kind of a rut of, oh, I need to post to this Twitter group, or, oh, I need to get this client stuff out X amount of days, whatever. Just spending a couple minutes even just creating, just to kind of create, can help you kind of get back into a flow when you dive back into those client projects or whatever else you have going on.
Yeah. And some domino effect, you probably stretch your skill set a little bit. I mean, because it's fog, yeah. It was at night. And not that you were, like, oh, now I need to make sure this aperture or whatever. I have no idea what I just said.
It is a word.
It is a word. I know his vocab. I do not know what all the vocab means. But I'm just like, so that, because when you're in the routine of producing for others or whatever that you might, well, that skill set is already, that skill set is almost a habit. Yeah. And so doing something like that, being challenged in a sense by the environment, has an effect on lots of other small components of our creative life. My last one is probably one that many people do personally, but I maybe it's because I am getting older to a degree, but you got to take care of yourself. Yeah, physically, mentally, and spiritually. Doesn't mean that you can't, life can't hit you with strong emotions, or you can't. But that 3 things, physical, mental, and spiritual, they all interplay and they help each other, and it fosters a better sense of, to a degree, joy of the now. We don't. I guess obviously it's the holidays and we've all overeaten a little bit, but honestly, you don't feel good when you overeat. You like, even your sister says like one more, like, I'm not hungry for breakfast. It's like, yeah. Okay, now it's really at the moment. Yeah, it's nice to have a bark covered Oreo but when we get back into work schedule and stuff like that, exercise, look at your spiritualness. That's up to you, but your spiritual health is a part of it also, and then the physical. And so again, just schedule it. I am a big schedule your stuff as much, and then be spontaneous with that. But it will make a huge effect, not just in your creative endeavors. It'll make a huge effect in your relationships, in your work life. And we all know it. It just means we don't always do it. Just like we always know what we should do in regards to a lot of things, but we tend, if it just sits in our head or in our heart, it doesn't get done. It has to be put into practice. And I got to walk a little bit because the weather today is not good, but the weather's been pretty nice. So I've hit some really long walks, and I can tell it's like, that's good feeling on all three levels there.
Yeah, and like I've had way too many miles in my car this year, whatever. But specifically between like mid-October, mid-November, my meals were all over the place. It was basically some days I would eat just a breakfast pizza in the morning, and I wouldn't get home till like 8, and I'd be like, wow, I just kind of want to go to bed. Like, there was just not, one, a lack of routine, two, a lack of just fueling the body in all three levels, because it's just the monotonous car driving, it's the missing meals because of the time stuff. And I got sick for a couple days after, like when I finally came down and was able to kind of take a breath. I was like, yeah, well, you're eating gas station fast food, and that's the only food you're eating, and you're eating like 600 calories a day basically, and that's it. You're probably not going to feel well when that all gets back to you. And
sometimes it's hard. If you remember, summer basketball stuff, like we did eat out a little, but yet we would pack, our applesauces and our mac and cheese. I mean, it's not like you can eat perfectly all the time but you know that when you drastically go the other way, your physical feeling affects your emotional. It's all interconnected, and if you keep and you're aware of what you're doing, okay, and it helps. It helps you get through and not crash so hard. Sometimes we crash though, but sometimes we set ourselves up for it though.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. I could have brought better groceries to bring, but whatever. Yeah. But yeah, the time constraints and stuff, there was times I just couldn't stop to even get McDonald's. Like I had to keep going. I got to get to the next spot, whatever it may be. So yeah, those are 4. We did 4.
Yep.
4 tips on how to be more creative. That is our conjoined resolution for each other, for you, for us, for your creative friends. Hopefully you guys kind of can use some of those methods, those tips, that advice to help you maintain that creative resolution past the second Friday in January. With that being said, Happy New Year's, Happy Holidays.
Our next episode might actually be right before that.
The Tuesday?
Yeah. Ooh,
make it to next episode.
Yeah.
Please. But yeah, thank you guys as always for watching throughout the years. Hope to look forward to you guys watching as well in 2025. This was Season 8, Episode 1 of The Creative Moment, and we'll see you guys in a year.
Yeah. Future Joe.